All right, guys. Welcome to the NBA live stream. We got 9 games to talk about, and there is about half the league questionable right now. So it's going to be a really tricky one to break down with just, again, so many guys questionable. I will say this could be a slate where leave some room in those later games, right, to allow you to make some pivots. So Detroit was the team originally when I made the video last night. I was like, hey, I want to load up on the Detroit Pistons. Now, with some of this news coming in, not so much. Now, I still like the Pistons, but I don't think this is a slate you should play like 3 or 4 Pistons, right? We got Miami value. We got, Philadelphia value. We have Memphis value, right? We have possibly Pacers value. There's a lot more guys that are now in play with just so many guys questionable. So like I said, could be a slate where you might leave some room here to allow yourself to make some pivots. But all right, let's go over what we know so far. And right now it's a ton. There's just a ton of news to go over. So Brown and Tatum are in. Smart got ruled in. Kemba is out. Terrence Ross out for Tuesday. Ben Simmons is still questionable. Jimmy Butler questionable. Bam Adebayo out. Lou Dort out. Miles Turner and Domantas Sabonis now questionable for the Indiana Pacers. Goran Dragic questionable. McDermott questionable. Hero was out, and then sure enough, now he's questionable. Andre Iguodala questionable. Roby out. Jeremy Lamb questionable. Let's see. Hero now questionable, from out to questionable. Let's start it up. And the big news really is, again, so we got Gobert probable and Smart's in. Tobias is now out. Kemba's out. We're still waiting on the Pacers big men. Still waiting on Ben Simmons. We're still waiting on Jimmy Butler, and we're still waiting on Steph Curry. So, yeah, right. Possibly Golden State value too, right? So Kemba's out. Smart is in. Does that do a ton for me for Boston? I think it makes Smart playable in the mid-range. Maybe Peyton Pritchard if he starts, but there might be better value on this slate. Also, George Hill's available to make his debut for the 76ers. Seth Curry also in. Again, waiting on Ben Simmons, waiting on Dwight Howard. Yeah, it's going to be one of those slates for sure. All right, so I'm not going to go over all these games because, again, we just don't have time, but I'll point out a couple games that, let's see, with the Vegas odds. Again, that Phoenix-Milwaukee game is a super high total, but I have no interest in that game. That game's basically crossed off. This Pacers-Spurs game looks intriguing, especially if 1 or 2 of those Pacers bigs miss. All right, so I'll do my best to break it down, guys. Yeah, if you could, leave a like button as you're coming in. As always, we'll try to hit 100 likes before the end of the show. Hitting the like button really does help me out as, gets it out to more viewers. So would really appreciate that, guys. But all right, yeah, so Cleveland and Detroit. I'll make this really simple for Cleveland. There's no one you should play in this slate. No one you should play on the Cleveland Cavaliers. If you play anyone, it's suboptimal plays, and you need an absolute ceiling game. I just don't think it's necessary on this slate. On the Detroit Pistons, so I mentioned, again, the video last night, I was super high in the Pistons, and I still do like the Detroit Pistons. So we'll start with Isaiah Stewart. I think it's a really good play. The issue now becomes opportunity cost of playing Isaiah Stewart in one of your 2 center spots. Right, so this is, I would say, it's setting up for the stars and scrub slate. 2 stars on the slate are Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid, both in smash spots. Right, so there's 2 stars right there. Also, with Bam Adebayo out, now we have basically a flat min-price Dwayne Dedmon most likely starting. So you got to factor that in, right? Are you going to play Isaiah Stewart over one of those stars? Are you going to play him over a min-priced Dwayne Dedmon most likely starting? Now, you could punt with both centers. You could go Stewart and Dedmon, but then you're losing out on both Embiid, Jokic, who again have insane upside. So it's a tricky one, right? Because I really do like Isaiah Stewart. I don't think he's a must-play, though, with the other centers on the slate. Sadiq Bey, I think, is a fine play in the mid-range. He'll play big minutes. Not a great point-per-minute guy, but definitely viable. Again, Josh Jackson, I think, will probably, him and Stewart should be the number 1 and number 2 on offense. Josh Jackson had a big game last game when these Pistons were out. He went in 27 minutes for 42 fantasy points. That was also, he was in foul trouble too. So I do have some interest in Josh Jackson. And then with point guards, I assume Killian Hayes starts. If he does, I think he's a pretty good value. I think we'll get somewhere around 25 to 28 minutes for Killian Hayes. And then Frank Jackson, possibly if he starts, right? We need to see who else starts. My guess is it's going to be Killian Hayes plus Bay, Stewart, and Jackson. Whoever ends up starting there is with them is also solid value, whether it be like a Frank Jackson, maybe they move Diallo in the starting lineup. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now with the Pistons. So, all right, let's move on to Chicago and Boston. I'll make this pretty simple for Chicago. There's really not much here. I think there's... Yeah, I think Vucevic is a fine contrarian spend up, but are you going to play Nikola Vucevic over Embiid or over... okay, so Turner out indefinitely. Wow. Sabonis. Wow, Turner out indefinitely. Huh. Is Sabonis in? Oubre will play. Steph Curry likely to play. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Steph. I really did not want to consider Andrew Wiggins. I just didn't want to mess with the Golden State secondary option, so I'm actually very, very happy that Steph is going to play here. So, okay, Turner out indefinitely. We're still waiting on Sabonis news. We'll get to that game. But, yeah, if Sabonis is out too, then... Is it Goga season? I think it would be Goga season, but then you got to factor in, all right, you got Goga, you got Dedmon, and then you got Jokic, you got Embiid, you got Stewart that's still a pretty good play in the mid-range, right? It's going to be an interesting one, guys. All right, so Chicago, yeah, there's not much here. On the Boston side, even with Kemba Walker out, not a ton of love. Like Tristan Thompson, in my opinion, is kind of out of play now. He was a guy that, if there's not a lot of value, I think would be a pretty decent play. I just have a hard time playing Tristan Thompson over, like, at a similar price. I'd rather have Stewart. I would much rather have Dedmon at mid price. Much rather have Goga if Sabonis is out too. And then just, again, there's two good spend ups at center too. So it doesn't make sense opportunity cost-wise to go to Tristan Thompson. Now, Marcus Smart, I think, is a solid play in the mid-range. I don't love the price. Like, almost $7K. He does get a boost. I need to see who else they start. Does Peyton Pritchard move in the starting lineup? Possibly. Tatum and Brown, again, they're not like, we're not getting them at discounts. They're both fine options, but no priority plays here. Yeah, and then possibly Peyton Pritchard as value if he starts, but we don't have that starting lineup news yet for Boston. So at the moment, there's a couple guys that are in play, but no priority plays here. Bazemore will remain starting even though Oubre's in. That doesn't do much for me. I'm not really looking to do the secondary guys there. Don't play Dedmon. If he starts, good luck with that fade. That's all I'll say. Good luck with that. All right, Golden State and Philly. So, Steph Curry, again, most likely in. I think he's a fine contrarian spend up. You have to ask yourself, are you going to play Steph Curry over Russell Westbrook on the slate? Now, there is some bullet risk with Westbrook, and I think Westbrook's going to be popular, right? I think Westbrook, Jokic, and probably Embiid are going to be the most popular spend ups. Steph should go a little bit overlooked because of the matchup, but if Ben Simmons is off the court too, then they're missing a couple good defenders. I think Steph's a really interesting tournament play here because I just don't think a lot of people are getting to him. And assuming he plays and there's no limit, and it looks like he's going to go, he's been playing out of his mind recently. He's been shooting the ball really well. So I do kind of like Steph as a contrarian option. I'm not touching the secondary pieces here for Golden State. The only other guy I think is viable is Draymond, but I just have a hard time. There's a lot of guys in Draymond's range. I think I prefer point per dollar. Draymond still has the upside, but again, he's been a frustrating player, been very up and down. Not out of play, but again, no priorities there. So that's it for Golden State. On the Philadelphia side, Joel Embiid at the top, I think looks really good here. Again, like who is going to guard him at Golden State? Looney, undersized Draymond Green, Samaljic, right? So Embiid should be able to feast. I don't know if he's going to be that popular. There's no Tobias Harris. There's possibly no Ben Simmons. Like, if Ben Simmons is out too, this offense is just get the ball to Embiid and get out of the way, right? So Joel Embiid, I really, really like at the top. I think it was one of the best plays on this slate. Again, Tobias, unlikely to play. Ben Simmons, I'm not really going to get to him even if he does play. He's been a little bit disappointing. If Ben Simmons is out, yeah, we can consider a guy like Seth Curry. The issues, I don't think we have to do it, right? They have Milton. They're going to, George Hill's finally going to play, going to be dusted off for a few minutes probably. really, for me, it's Embiid, and that's it. I don't think I want to mess with the Philadelphia value on this one. I just think there's better value plays elsewhere. All right, Oklahoma City and Washington. So on the Thunder side, yes, Dort is out. Yes, Roby is out. Yes, it's a good matchup. Do I still really like anyone? Not really. Like Baisley, Brown, Maladon, Pokusevski, Kenrich. I will say probably one of these guys has a pretty good game. I just don't think it's necessary to go there on the slate. Like Svi Mikhailuk will get minutes. We know he's score independent though. I think there's better value on the slate. So for me, they're all kind of secondary options. I don't think you have to completely avoid OKC. Like if you land on one of these guys as a filler, if you land on like a Maladon or a Pokusevski as your last piece in, that's all right. That's all right. But there's no like players that I'm gonna go like, oh, I need to play someone on the Thunder on the slate. On the Washington side, so Russell Westbrook, again, this is setting up for a Stars and Scrubs slate. Now, which value you're going to play, right? It's still kind of up in the air with just so many guys still questionable. But, Westbrook has been super, super consistent. It's a revenge game narrative. Obviously, there is some blowout risk here. Some blowout risk. This Thunder team is terrible. So you got to factor that in a little bit. But yeah, I think Westbrook right now is a very, very safe play with upside. I don't mind Brad Beal. I think Westbrook's going to be super popular, as I said. If you want to use Beal as a pivot, you certainly can and save about $2,000. With the value, I'm not going to really mess with it unless Alex Len is out and Gafford starts. Then I would have some interest in Gafford as a value center. Then that would be another center to add to the list. Though, again, I've already mentioned like 5 or 6 I think are really good plays. Houston and Miami. So this is interesting. Again, there's so many guys questionable for Miami. If a lot of those guys are out, that Miami defense is not going to be the same. So I think like the main guys for Houston are good tournament plays, like a Christian Wood, a John Wall, even a Kelly Olynyk revenge game. Like Olynyk's been really good for this team. Again, all the starters are playing massive minutes in close games. So like Wood, Wall, Olynyk, I think are good tournament plays. I don't think these guys are cash game plays, but hey, they're all going to play big minutes. John Wall, probably my favorite just because he's been a super, super high usage guy when he's in the lineup. But Wall, Wood, and Olynyk, I think are guys that are good tournament plays. On the Miami side, well, I mean, I don't even know what to say right now because we got half the team questionable. And we got guys that were out that are now questionable. I don't know what to make this. We'll start with what we do know, and Bam Adebayo is out. Bam Adebayo's out. Dwayne Dedmon is min price. He overtook Precious Achiuwa in the rotation. He played 15 minutes and went for 23 fantasy points. Went for a double-double in that time. Dedmon's a guy that can block some shots. He can do the peripheral stats. It's a good matchup against Houston. Assuming Dwayne Dedmon starts, I think he's one of the best values of the slate. Again, though, opportunity cost, you can only play 2 centers. You got to make some tough calls. But Dedmon's the guy that I really like, assuming he does start. They could also throw a curveball and maybe start a guy like Precious Achiuwa, who was also 3.2K. My guess, though, it is Dedmon. Assuming he does start, really like Dedmon. Now, Jimmy questionable, Hero questionable, Dragic questionable, Iguodala questionable. All right, so assuming all those guys are out, I don't see how you get away from Kendrick Nunn at 4-3 in this matchup. With basically everyone out, he would be the number 1 on offense, probably plays 35 minutes, and is in a great matchup. So would absolutely love Kendrick Nunn, assuming all those guys are out for Miami. Wouldn't mind Ariza. I don't love the price, like the upside, way more on Nunn. And then, I don't even know what they're going to do with the starting lineup if all those guys are out, right? So let's just assume everyone that's questionable is out. It would probably be Ariza, Duncan, Kendrick Nunn, Dwayne Dedmon, and then, who else starts? I don't know. Do they dust off Naminza Bjelica, possibly, and move him in the starting lineup? He could be a value if he starts. So it's hard to say right now. If everyone that is questionable is in, then it's really Dedmon for me, and then probably Jimmy at the top, and that's probably it. So yeah, again, right now it is so hard to say, and we might not get this news until after lock. Which, and are you willing to take a risk and leave some spots open for your lineup for possibly some great value on Miami? Tough. Max Strus, yeah, they could start Strus. They could. But yeah, Miami would be pretty thin if all those guys are out. All right, so San Antonio, There's two guys, DeRozan and DeJounte Murray. DeRozan, this is a really good matchup against the Pacers. He should play 35-plus minutes. I actually do like him at this price. Small forward is usually a weaker position. Don't mind DeJounte Murray. The issue is point guard, like center, is very loaded. So I don't know if it's worth it to play a DeJounte Murray at the point guard position when you have so many good point guard plays. So right now, just for looking at positions, it's DeMar DeRozan because small forward is a little bit weaker. Jimmy's out. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Iguodala in, Hero out, Dragic will play, Jimmy Butler out. Okay, so Dragic and Iguodala are in. Let's circle back to Miami. So with Dragic versus Nunn, I like them both now. I do like them both. Dragic played 31 minutes last game. Kendrick Nunn played 29. If I had to pick, I would give a slight lean to Kendrick Nunn. And the only reason I do that is because they were thinking about resting Dragic tonight. So, maybe he doesn't play as many minutes. That is my only reason. I think both point guards still look really good in Nunn and Dragic. So, like them both. Again, no Jimmy Butler. So, they get a massive boost. Again, really high on Deadman, assuming he starts. Iguodala started the last game. He played 27 minutes. Playable for value. But really where I'm focusing on is Deadman plus the 2 point guards, that being Nunn, that being Dragic. I think both are really, really good plays on this slate. Really good. Again, I would give this slight edge to Nunn if he made me pick, but the only reason is because they were considering resting Dragic. Yeah, all right. So that's that. Good thing we got that news. That does help a little bit. Now let's move on to the Spurs. So, again, Turner out. We're still waiting on Domantas Sabonis news. If Domantas Sabonis plays, I really like him at this price because he plays a majority at the 5 when Turner is out. So, yeah, really, really do like. Hold on, Butler's out. Yeah, did I read that wrong? Yeah, Jimmy Butler ruled out. Yeah, okay. I'm not going crazy. Dragic in, Butler out, Hero out, Iguodala in. Yeah, okay. I was like, did I read that wrong? Really? Okay, so Domantas Sabonis, yeah, I like him if he plays. Now, if Domantas Sabonis is out too, then this gets really interesting. So we'll start with the 2 guards who I think actually become really good plays that if we get Sabonis ruled out after lock, these guys could be super low owned in Brogdon and LeVert. Malcolm Brogdon has been playing out of his mind recently. Should play 35 minutes. Him and LeVert would be the clear number 1 and number 2 on offense if Sabonis is out. So would like both these guards, would give the edge to Brogdon over LeVert. And then we got Goga as the 10th center that I've mentioned that would look really good assuming he starts. So again, you have to make some tough calls there. So yeah, that's what I got. Phoenix and Milwaukee, I'll make this really, really quick since we got about 15 minutes left. No interest in anyone in Phoenix. No interest in anyone in Milwaukee. There's no point. Now, Phoenix, you never know, right? The starters could get extended because this is a big game. Maybe instead of 30 to 32, we see 35 plus. I don't know if it's worth it to take the risk, though, on this slate with the Phoenix guys. I think there's too many good spend-ups. There's a lot of good plays in the mid-range, right? I don't know if it's worth it to do it. And the same thing with Milwaukee. Giannis, they're easing him back with him kind of playing somewhat limited minutes. It just takes everyone else out of play. I don't really want to play Giannis if he's only going to play about 30 minutes. So, yeah. Memphis and Denver. Another one that it's tricky because Memphis has a lot of guys that are up in the air. So what we know is JV's out. Jaren Jackson Jr. doubtful. Brooks questionable. Melton, I believe, is doubtful or questionable. And Brandon Clark questionable too. So let's just say everyone that is questionable is out. If that is the case, I think Xavier Tillman becomes one of the best values of the slate. And the really good part about this, look at that, right? He is power forward eligible. So you can play him at the 4, which is huge because center is loaded. So would really like Tillman, assuming he starts. Kyle Anderson also would become a pretty good play. He would play majority at the 4. Would like him. I think he goes overlooked. I would assume Desmond Bane plays more and would become a pretty good value play. And then, like, whatever Killian Tilly is, will have to play more minutes. I don't think we have to go there. But really, interest would be probably Tillman 1, and then Bane, slow-mo, look pretty good as well. And then Ja Morant, I kind of like as a contrarian spend-up. No one's going to play him today, but again, we already know Jonas Valanciunas is out. Jonas Valanciunas is a phenomenal point-per-minute guy off the court. Ja's going to have to step it up usage-wise. I know he's not been great. I know no one's going to play him, but I would not be surprised if we see 50-plus fantasy points from Ja Morant at like 1% today. Denver, Jokic, one of the better spenders of the slate, should be able to feast against this front court. Nikola Jokic, again, opportunity cost though. You can only play 2 centers. You really have to make some tough calls, but Jokic, like Embiid, one of the best spend-ups of the slate. The rest of the Denver guys, I don't think it's necessary to get to anyone. Price points kind of take the mid-range guys out of play. Campozo, Dozier, going to split the point guard duties. On a normal slate, I would have some interest in these guys, but right now there's just too much. There's too much good value for me to go there. All right, lastly, Utah and the Lakers. So originally, Utah was a team I actually did like a good amount, but now not as much. There's no Mitchell, so like Conley, Clarkson, and Ingles, I think are all pretty good plays in the mid-range. I think there's no priority plays here though. This should be a pretty slow game. Lakers play slow, Jazz play slow. So yes, there's a high usage guy out of this offense, but the way the rest of the slate is shaping up, again, setting up from where that stars and scrubs slate, there's no priority place here. I do think Clarkson, Ingles, and Conley though are decent options on the slate. No one else I would consider. On the Lakers side, basically just crossing this team off. Just don't have to go to anyone on this slate. It's not worth it. So, all right, let's see. Do we have any more news? And then we can get to questions. No more news. All right. Yeah, it's going to be one of those. It's going to be one of those slates, guys. So yeah, Curry or Embiid. Give me Embiid. A lot of these questions are hard to answer right now, right? Because I don't have the news. So like Bane versus Frank Jackson. I don't know. Is Frank Jackson going to start? Are those other Memphis guys out? It's just too hard to say right now. Nunn or Killian Hayes? So for me, I like the upside more in Nunn. I would prioritize Nunn over Killian Hayes. It's a really good match. Killian Hayes, I don't think plays more than like 27, 28 minutes. I'm scared of fading Embiid and Jokic. Yeah, so like there is enough value where you could spend up on both Embiid and Jokic if you want to. Like no one's going to do that because there's so many good center plays, but I think you can still do it. There's still enough value. You can play Embiid and Jokic together and just like punt at the point guard. There's, some value forwards as well. So you can still do that. Clarkson, former team. Yep, for sure. Again, those Utah guys are all decent options. Yeah, of those 4, give me Josh Jackson. Best spend up, not Embiid, Jokic, or Westbrook. Well, depends what you're playing. I think Steph Curry's a good tournament play because I don't think anyone's gonna play him. Ingles or Clarkson. Also, kind of depends what you're playing. I think Ingles is more of a cashy play. Clarkson more of a GPP play. Shooting guard, any thoughts? Depends what range you're looking in. Oh, yeah. I mean, I tilted hard about it on the video. Tilted hard. 4 fouls in 4 minutes. Like, you have to be kidding me with that. Draymond today, against Philly, not out of play. I don't know if it's necessary. Brogdon's still viable. Sabonis is in. Secondary play for me if Sabonis is in. If Sabonis is in, Sabonis is the guy for me. If Sabonis is out, it's Brogdon, LeVert, and then Goga. Shooting guard for 4,100. Yeah, so I think right now it would be Desmond Bane and just hope a lot of those guys from Memphis are out. Like he's already playing like mid-20s minutes. If a few of those guys are out from Memphis, he would extend even more. So I think you just go there for the moment and just hope those guys from Memphis are out. Ideal lineup tonight to pair Embiid with another value center. Oh, is the ideal lineup? I mean, I think optimal build wise is you probably pick one of the spend up centers, Jokic or Embiid, to pair with a value center. Like you could, but like you could still punt at both centers and you could still spend up at both centers because there's value everywhere. But I think probably the optimal one is to play one of the spend ups and then punt at one of the positions at center. Do we still need the Detroit value? I like the Detroit guys. I'm just not playing 4, right? I'm not loading up on them. I definitely think getting to at least one Piston is probably a good idea. So yeah, don't avoid the Pistons. I'm just not playing like 4 or 5 like I thought I was going to at the beginning of the day. Small forward, again, depends what range you're looking in. You got to give me a range. Westbrook or Curry. So Westbrook is the cash game play. I think Curry is an interesting pivot, assuming there's no limitations. Ja or Brogdon. Give me Ja at the moment. If Sabonis is out, I'll go Brogdon, though. Does Sabonis become a top spend up? I think he'd be a really good spend up there with Embiid, Jokic, and Westbrook. Jaylen Brown or DeRozan? It's pretty close. Give me DeRozan. I like the matchup. I mean, both are in solid matchups, I guess. That one's pretty much a coin flip for me. I know Kemba's out, but I do like the spot a lot for DeRozan against the Pacers. I think the Boston guys are decent options. You know, Tatum's at 10K, Brown's at 8.4, Smart's at almost 7K. They're fine options. I'm not going to go out of my way to play one. Yeah, DeRozan or LeVert. DeRozan at the moment, but I think if there's no Sabonis, it might lean LeVert. Curry and Embiid stack, yeah, I like it. No Giannis love. Right now, they're limiting his minutes. All right, shooting guard for 6K. Yeah, I would rebuild. I would rebuild because you don't want to play DiVincenzo. I don't think you want to play Dylan Brooks. It's not worth it to play Will Barton, and then you have like a lot of guys injured. So that's one where you rebuild. Definitely not worth it to play someone there. Game stack of Houston and Miami. You can definitely do it. Like I like the there's no Jimmy and no Bam. So this Miami defense is not the same, right? So I think John Wall looks really interesting to me. Even Christian Wood or Kelly Olynyk. Like I don't mind that at all. Yeah, Tillman or Bane. It just depends, right? It depends on who plays and not who starts. Assuming everyone is out for Memphis, I'll just say that. Assuming everyone's out, I'll prefer Tillman to Bane. Dedmon or Gafford for utility. Hard to say right now. I think right now it would be Dedmon, but if there's no Len, you can at least make the argument for Gafford if he starts. Pokusevski or Stewart? Stewart for sure. But again, center's loaded. Yeah, I would say there's no clear play at small forward. You got, Brown, DeRozan at the top. Ingles is a fine play in the mid-range. Sadiq Bey is a fine play in the mid-range. Value-wise, like maybe Diallo if he starts. But based on what we've seen recently, I probably won't get that. Again, Bane becomes someone to look to for value, especially if a lot of those guys are out for Memphis. Eubanks, if Eubanks starts, Eubanks is not going to start. They're going to start Jakob Poeltl. Kendrick Nunn, I really like Kendrick Nunn. Favorite two Pistons? Well, if position didn't matter, it would probably be Isaiah Stewart and Josh Jackson. But the issue is, again, Stewart's only center eligible. None of DeRozan for me there. Hayes, Mills. No. That's you should not play Patty Mills in the slate. You shouldn't play PJ Dozier. There's much better value. Giannis was 13% on one off in 29 minutes. If he gets extended, good luck. Yeah, it's a possibility. It's a possibility. The thing I will say, though, is Phoenix is a really good defensive team. I know Giannis, you could argue, is matchup proof, but Phoenix is a good defender. Like, Mikal Bridges is a good defender. I'm guessing he'll be on Giannis. They can throw Jay Crowder on him. They have a lot of guys they can throw on him. Plus, it's like the other stars we can expect 35-plus minutes from. So they're just a lot safer, in my opinion. Yeah, you can do it. You can go Embiid, Jokic. There's enough value elsewhere to do it, for sure. Yeah, Middleton, DeRozan. 380 viewers. Yeah, 380 viewers. Thank you guys. 84 likes. If you could, let's try to reach 100 likes before the end of the show. That would help me out a ton. Curry and Nunn or Westbrook and Hayes. I mean, it depends what you're playing, right? So I much prefer Nunn to Hayes, but for cash games, I prefer Westbrook to Curry. So if it's GPPs, then give me Curry and Nunn. Sexton or Smart. I'm not really looking to anyone in Cleveland. Yeah, there's again point guard and center's loaded. So it's the opera. You gotta make some really tough calls there for sure. 7K for Ford. I definitely think this is like a 2 point guard and 2 center build for sure. So 7K. I wouldn't play Wiggins with Steph Curry in. I'm not playing Jayshawn Tate. I'm not playing Love. I'm not playing Kuzma. I'm not playing Baisley. You can go Ingles and leave 800 on the table. I don't think that's necessary. I think you rebuild. I think you're putting yourself in too much of a bad spot with that. 3 Heat players too much. That's fine. They're a Heater team that look good. Jackson over Bay. It's close. Bay will play more minutes. Jackson's a slightly better point per minute guy. It's close. I will slightly give that to Jackson because he got in foul trouble last game. I think he probably gets close to 30 minutes. Yeah, you can play Nunn and Dragic together. The issue is then you can't play like Westbrook, or then you can't play Steph Curry, or then you can't play some of these other really good point guards. Yeah, again, it makes it tough, right? Because he's only point guard eligible. There's so many good center and point guard plays. Budget power forwards. Tillman, assuming that those Memphis guys are out, I think looks really good. Yeah, Tillman over Bane for me, just because he's a big. Embiid or Jokic for cash games. I think it's basically a coin flip. I do. Yeah. Not really. Just the price points there for OKC. I think they're fine as filler options. Like if you land on a Maladon, Pokuševski, that's all right. It's a really good matchup. But looking at the prices, it's a little bit hard to get to. Olynyk or Moses Brown? Give me Kelly O. Yeah, give me Kelly O revenge. Ja, Bane, DeRozan, Sabonis, Embiid, Nunn, Tillman, Dedmon for tournaments. I think it looks pretty good. Gabe Vincent, or is he too risky? Is he available to play? I mean, unless he starts, I wouldn't do it. Let's see. Is he even playing? Probable. Okay. But unless he starts, I'm not going there. I don't think he does. DeRozan and LeVert or Beal and Ingles. Depends on Sabonis. I'll say. I'll go with the first one if Sabonis is out. Sabonis is in. Go with the second one. Killian Hayes, Bane, DeRozan, Tillman, Embiid, Russ, Ingles, and Dedmon. Thoughts? I think it's a good lineup. Yeah. You can play 3 point guards in DK if you use your utility spot. See, I wouldn't do that though because there's too many good center plays. I think you're going to want to play 2 centers. So you can only play 2 point guards in my opinion. 4,300 for small forward. You say Bane, and then what shooting guard 4,300 and lower? Okay, so shooting guard 4,300 and not Desmond Bane. So I'm not playing Bryn Forbes. I'm not playing Milton. Don't really want to play Svi. I think it's a situation you rebuild. That's not like I don't want to. That's not where I want to be for value. So yeah, I don't think it's worth it. Yeah, I think LeVert again. Assuming Sabonis is out, could be a sneaky play. Sabonis is out. Okay, now it's getting interesting if that's the case. I still see questionable. Unless it's like sometimes they are a little bit slow to update here. Let's just do a little search. Okay, I don't see it yet. Westbrook and Kyle Anderson, LeVert and Tatum. If Sabonis is out, it's just Kyle Anderson. It depends on the rest of the Memphis guys. So it's so hard to say, right? Yeah, I can't answer that right now. Yeah. Yeah, fake news, 100% fake news there. So honestly, I don't even know how to ban someone or whatever. Turn around, definitely, yeah. All right. Let me refresh one more time, and then I'm gonna get out of here, guys. Got to make some updates for Patreon and go stream there. So we're still winning Alex Len news. Basically, what I will say is centers loaded. I think you should play 2 centers tonight. I think there is merit to leaving space, leaving room in the later games because we're still waiting on some news that could open up even more value. Right? We have Memphis, really. We have Sabonis. So there is. I think you can definitely do that and leave some room. I would say don't completely avoid the Pistons, but maybe get to one of them. And then, yeah, just keep an eye on things because we know things can change like that. Guys that could be ruled out could be ruled back in. So that is my advice to you guys is got to be on your phone today for sure. Ton of stuff we're still waiting for. We're still waiting a lot of starting lineups too. But, yeah, that's all I got. So good luck, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you back here tomorrow for another stream.